Right here. Denial. Noun. Failure to acknowledge an unacceptable truth or emotion or to admit it into consciousness, used as a defense mechanism. Quote, "You're living in denial." Short for self-denial. Would you look at that? Huh.
A wise guy, eh?
Salutations, fellow nerds. I'm Rick Y, and today is September 12th, 2025. I wanted to read aloud something that I wrote last night before my evening retirement, but since the trolls in my comments are still stuck in the stages of grief, I thought that I would help a video that would help them through this difficult time. You see, their political worldview is very black and white, and the idea that someone could be more ridiculous than them is just too much to process. But let's look at the receipts. Family member saying he was a Republican, the guy once dressed as Pepe the Frog, rode on Trump's shoulders another year for Halloween, the household loved firearms, and even folks on 4chan and Discord corroborated the story. In short, conservative incel edgelord, yet conservatives refuse to believe it. Why? Well, I'm glad to pretend that you asked. Well, because before there was even a suspect, MAGA already decided who it was, why they did it, and what punishment should follow. Everyone's favorite MAGA scamp, Libs of TikTok, says this is war. Andrew Tate, the shaved, drunk Neanderthal, says civil war. I'm kind of surprised he spelled that correctly. Gunther Eagleman says they've declared war, and Elon Musk says if they don't leave us in peace, then our choice is fight or die. And it didn't stop there. Nancy Mace went full Judge Dredd, calling for the death penalty in a state that it already exists, until she realized the dude was on her team. Then suddenly it's, well, Charlie would have wanted forgiveness and prayer. Amazing. They're already speaking for the dude and he's not even in the ground yet. But here's the kicker. I do know what Charlie Kirk would have said.
But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe.
Damn. Guess that makes him the sacrificial lamb on the pyre of gun rights, right? Out of context. Cool. So you're saying someone else's kid should have been the organ donor for your Second Amendment. My mistake. And that's the problem right there. You've been sniffing your own farts since the day Trump won the election, and the methane is finally catching up with your brain cells. You see people in black and white, and when reality doesn't match your little narrative, suddenly it's a conspiracy, or video games, or anything but what it is. And here's the hard truth. The attempted assassin, even on Donald Trump, also one of these guys. A fringe conservative extremist who thought Charlie Kirk wasn't far right enough. They're the mirror image of what Republicans think Antifa is. But it turns out Antifa was in the mirror the whole time. So here's my take. Conservatives. Homies. Fellow Americans who just, happen to disagree on basic civility. If after the dust settles, and this person doesn't happen to be some far-left transgender boogeyman like you happen to claim, I don't expect anything. Except that you like, subscribe, and either learn something new here or teach us something new. But if you want to be taken seriously in the future, we're going to expect atonement. And look, I actually understand your questions because a lot of you aren't terminally online like these guys can be, so they can be kind of hard to spot. But it's also another example of a conservative taking pot shots at fellow conservatives at this point. The issue isn't that you've got the questions or that there aren't answers to them. I just don't think you want to grapple with those answers yet. And that's part of the process. Eventually, that acceptance will sink in. But until then, if you really think we are that cruel and evil and violent, sit with us. Find out for yourself. You're just as welcome here as anyone else. And honestly, I think that's a fair request. Anyways, like, subscribe, and y'all come back now. You hear?